And we are live. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time we are dialing in from. Welcome, a very, very, very warm welcome. Good evening, guys. Thank you so much for jumping on. I'm super excited to run through tonight's session. Guys, just a quick tech test for me. Let me know if you can see me, you can hear me. Can you see the slides okay? Just pop a yes in that chat box. Let's make sure we are all rocking and rolling. It wouldn't be the first time we have a technical issue. It definitely won't be the last. So just let me know that you can hear me okay, because we are going through a full packed session today, investing in Dubai, everything you need to know, the foundations 101. Yes. Okay, fantastic. You can hear me. That is amazing. Welcome, Jamie, Nazia, Tom, Daniela. Oh my gosh, so good to see so many faces in this session tonight. Guys, while everyone's dialing in, while everyone's warming up, I want to get to know you a little bit more. Let me know where you are dialing in from, where you are on your investment journey. Let's go. I want to get to know you a little bit more. Joe's lovely to have you in the room today. Thank you for jumping on. Cash from London, waiting for the right price, right investment. Cash, you're in the right place. We've got Depeche from the Midlands. Reese, good evening. Hello, how are we? From Hampshire. London, Newcastle, Manchester, home from home. I literally know in Manchester inside out. That's where I'm from. Guys, so special to have you all on tonight. I am very, very grateful. It's so good to see so many of you in this chat on this session. We have a lot to go through. Investing in Dubai, everything you need to know. Let's go. Let's roll with it. Let's do it. Okay, talking about our time together, let's just touch on how we can maximize it, because we only have 1 hour together and we have an awful lot to go through. But what is really special right now is we've actually carved out an hour of our time to work on our lives rather than in it. I think so often we get so busy with life and we're working super hard for our money that we've actually got the opportunity tonight to flip that switch and get our money working harder for us rather than the other way around. Love to see all the energy in the chat, guys. Keep that coming as well. Welcome, guys. Tom, Will, Raj, great to have you in. Thank you for joining. Have a notebook ready, okay? There's going to be a lot to take in. The more you write down, the more you're going to take in, the more you're going to remember. So definitely have a notebook handy. And also, quick note, this is an interactive session. So keep the questions coming, okay? This is not a one-way conversation. I really want you guys to get the most out of tonight. So keep the questions coming. There is a dedicated time for Q&A at the end, but if I see a question, we're on the topic, let's do it. We'll dive right in. So keep the questions coming and hopefully we're going to help you navigate it all, okay? Let's do it. Okay, quick disclaimer for you all, because genuinely, I know a lot of us do not like webinars. And the real reason that we don't like webinars is because we don't like being sold to. So I'm going to be honest with you. Take a big, deep in-breath and exhale, because you can relax. I'm going to go all Alex Hormozy on you. We have nothing to sell you. Genuinely, even if I wanted to show you floor plans, properties, price points, by the end of this presentation, it would have sold out. That is how quickly the market moves here. So genuinely, this is a value add session. We have so much content to run through. I want to give you all the foundations so that you know how to get involved in this market and how to take advantage of one of the most thriving property scenes right now. So let's do it. So if we're not going to sell anything, what are we actually going to run through? Very good question. Today, you're going to walk away knowing if investing in Dubai is right for you. By the end of this session, you are going to know and be able to make that decision. You're also going to understand exactly how to navigate the market, how to maximize returns, how to mitigate risk, and how to do it all as an international investor. Basically, my job, and to put it very, very simply, I want to save you time. I want to make you money. So let's do it. But more importantly, I want to know a little bit more why you are here. I know why I'm here, but what is it about the Dubai market that you're curious to know? What do you What information do you want to get out of this session? Is there any particular topics that you need covering? Why are you here? I can see some of you are investors already. Are you looking to diversify? Are you looking to move your capital from the UK over here? Are you just curious of what the Dubai market has to offer? Okay. We've got a few different ones here. Okay. So some of you are absolutely new to investing. Guys, you are in the right place because we're going to go over the 101, the fundamentals. So that is perfect. UK versus Dubai market, return, safety and liquidity. We're going to go through it all. Alex, you're looking for a place to live. Fantastic. Again, you're in the right place. I'm hoping you're going to help you navigate that. I've moved here recently myself, so hopefully I can shed some insights. Diversify, Yasmin, absolutely love it. It's such a good opportunity to right now to move some capital around. Again, Daniela's looking to do the same. Jose, Jamie. Okay, fantastic. So a lot of different things going on. But quite honestly, we're all going to be in the right place. Hopefully, we're going to help you navigate it all. Because you're not the only one saying this. I am literally on the phone with investors every single day, like back-to-back calls with investors. And most of my clients are the UK investors. I am a UK investor myself, so I absolutely get it. The UK market, it's getting tougher. Costs are increasing, margins are decreasing, increasing mortgage costs. We've got capital gains rates increasing last year as well. The increased stamp duty, oh my Lord, once that was announced, I got so many phone calls the next day. People were like, Katie, that is the final straw. What have you got for me? Increased legislation, more compliance, EPC changes, capital appreciation. Oh. Okay, so sorry. That was not planned. Okay, are we good? Okay, everyone wants a bit of the Dubai market. Okay, we're setting off fire alarms. It's so hot in here. Let's go. Let's go. Sorry about that, guys. We seem to be all good now. We are ready to roll. But basically, what I'm hearing and what I'm actually facing myself is that a lot of things in the UK, it's making it harder. Profits are getting less. So why are then people looking to turn to the Dubai market? Very, very, very good question. Because you can use the same capital, the same strategy, but over here, we're seeing higher rental returns. On average, you're seeing about 8%. You're getting higher capital appreciation. Okay, this one was mind blowing, and we'll dive into it a little bit more. But on average, last year in the UK, capital appreciation was 4.5%. Over in Dubai, we were looking at 27.5%. Insane capital appreciation growth. Not only that, you're qualifying for tax-free income with your purchase over here. That's inheritance tax-free, capital gains, personal income. It does not exist over here. You've got so many different benefits associated with investing here. Now, there is a concept, okay? A place where it's actually encouraging investment. I feel a lot of countries at the moment, they're putting more rules in place, more regulation in place, they're making it tougher. They're actually repelling a lot of the investment. Here, they're doing the opposite. They're magnetizing, they're wanting it in, and this is where we can benefit from it. Also, such a great win at the moment. UK property investors are getting roughly 10% off right now. We can thank Trump for that one, because due to Trump's tariffs, the UK pound, it's looking strong. So roughly we're getting about 10% off for every 100K you spend. You're actually saving 10K compared to what we were looking at about 2 months ago. So there has never been a better time to get involved. And when you see all that, I hear you, because I was on that same side of the fence. I was like, hun, that sounds too good to be true. Let's be real. So I actually went on the DLD, which is the Dubai Land Department, this morning to pull off some examples. This is live data from the DLD of what is happening in the market to bring this to life for you of what this can look like. So this is a 3-bedroomed property, Emaar beachfront. It was purchased off plan for 900K. Now, I'm going to speak in Great British pounds all the way through this, because I know a lot of you are UK investors. I want to keep it simple, but your AED conversion is over here for you. But it was purchased for 900K. It was sold last month for 1.5 million. And that's an increase of 68% in the space of 4 years. Another example for you. If you've been to Dubai, you may have seen this building. It's iconic, a 2-bedroom apartment in the Palm. The original purchase price buying off plan in here, you could get this property for 1.5 million. It has recently sold again last month for 3.5 million. That's a 131% increase. The property value has more than doubled in the space of 2 years. Another one, guys, I could keep going all day, to be honest with you. Another one. This is a 5-bedroom villa on the Palm. The Palm is iconic. We all know it. We all love it. Getting a villa on the Palm on off plan at that time, you could have bought this property for 570k. It has sold last month for 7.1 million, which is an increase in value of 1,157%, which is a 12x growth. How insane. And I think when people think of Dubai and they think of the party scene and the Porsches and everything else, they think, oh, you have to be a millionaire to invest in Dubai. And honestly, I'm here to tell you that is not the case at all. This is actually a live deal that's going through at the moment, and we were fighting over units today. It's been chaotic, but we actually got there in the end. This is a project, an entry-level project with a top-tier developer. Now, I'm going to go through later on in the session why that top-tier developer is super, super important for our investment. Sorry, I've just seen your question about DLD. That's the Dubai Land Department. It's basically the company, the government website that shows every single transaction, full visibility, full transparency of what's going on in the market. Hope that helps. So this project, entry level with a top tier developer, what can we expect to see? What does that actually look like in terms of broken down? So in this project had studios starting at 690,000 AED, which is the equivalent of 145 Great British pounds. Now, to book and secure this unit, you needed a 20% down payment plus your 4% DLD. Now, your DLD here is your equivalent of stamp duty, Dubai Land Department. 4% is a flat fee made on every single property purchase across Dubai, whether it's completed, whether it's new build. It's just a standard fee that you will have to pay. So up front to secure this unit, it was looking £35,000 to secure your property in this development. Now, this was on a 50-50 payment plan. So you then got another 30% to pay over the construction period. So that roughly works out to be about 5% per quarter, or if we break that down further, is about £2,400 per month. Now, you keep paying that up until your handover and completion, where you're due another 50%. At that point, that 50% is completely mortgageable. So you can either pay that with cash if you wish to do so, or you can get finance at that point because it's a finished, ready-made product. You can use the finance, get the keys, and then it's yours. The next question people ask is, okay, that sounds cool, looking good. What can I expect to see in terms of my returns on this particular project? Okay, a really, really good example and comparable that I've used for this one is another development by the same developer that is literally just handed over. So it's a really good comparable for us to see live data of what's going on in the market. Now, this project has just handed over. So I went onto the DLD to grab what type of rents we're seeing on studio apartments at the moment. Now, you can see there, they ranged anywhere between 55,000 and 60,000 AED, and that's live data as of today on the building that's just handed over with this developer. So you pop that over into the calculator, 60,000 AED, we're looking at about £12,600 annually rental income. We need to take your service charges out of that because we really want to be looking at your net figures. So that's working out to be 1,600 annually for all the service charges, which looks after the building, the amenities, your insurance, all that good stuff. Okay, so then your net returns you're left with is looking just under £11,000 per year, which works out to be 7.57% when we're looking at the net yields. I always like to be very, very conservative. I would prefer to under-promise, over-deliver every single time. And that's why I've used the figure of 60,000. because in reality, this project we're talking about is going to be newer, it's going to have better facilities, and it's also going to be complete in 2 years' time. Now, typically the rents over here, they increase on average 10% a year. So you can imagine 60K is going to be worst case scenario, but I'd prefer you to be happy with worst case scenario, and anything else looks like a win, looks like I'm a superstar, okay? But in reality, if we were to change that AED from 60 to maybe 70,000 AED, you're really looking at between 8 and 9% in terms of your net yields on there. Now, the other side of the investment, because I know you don't just get into an investment for cash flow, what could this project look like on your capital appreciation? This again, taken from the land department for the live figures of what's going on of that recent project they've just handed over on. So it's a really, really good comparable for us to use. The original purchase price for a studio in that building was, this investor secured it for 100,000 Great British pounds. They sold it literally last month, 2 years later, for 153,000. So that's an increase in value of 48% over 2 years. Okay. And when we look at the actual cash invested in this one could have been a 50-50 payment plan. So putting into that project, you'd have put around 51,000. Selling that 2 years later, you would have got just over 100K out of it. That is basically 100% return on your capital invested. You have just doubled your money in the space of 2 years. Plus you have a product that's kind of renting out at 7.58%. Fantastic. A few questions coming in. Are you protected? We're going to run through the security, how to make sure you're protected in every single way, shape or form, because that's a really, really good question. I don't want to butcher it now, but we will definitely jump into that. Cool. For me, this is where it really kind of came alive in terms of what we can expect to see across property markets across the world and why Dubai is thriving so much at the time. So I was sat down with a UK investor and they had a very, very good question. Which one should I go for? So we had a property. It was going to cost them £500,000. The annual rent on that property, they would have received about £20,000 per year. Now, the annual expenses they'd have had to take out on that was going to be £4,000. So their net return, they were going to walk away with about £16,000 per year annually, a 3.2% net yield, which in London is genuinely seen as a good investment, a good return on your capital. Whereas we could use that same money, but put it in the Dubai investment market. So the purchase price, same amount, 500K, but the annual rent was 37,700. Typically here you are seeing about 8% returns. Your annual expenses, they were higher. They were working out to be 9,700. Which was working out as the net returns, you were walking away with £28,000 per year, which is a net yield of 5.6. So you're nearly doubling the money by doing the same strategy, just in a different market. But it's genuinely the last line here, which got people very excited, because the UK on average last year, capital appreciation was 4.7% on average. Over in Dubai, the average was 27.5%. So what does that look like on our investment? Well, in the UK, your property value will have gone up to 523,000, and you're getting a net return annually of 16,000 a year. Okay. The same money, same strategy over here, you're getting 28,000 a year, and your property value after a year was looking at 637,000. So that is where it became a no-brainer. It was a very, very easy decision for them to make. And I'm personally very much a numbers-based investor. I look at the spreadsheets, I look at the numbers, very much an unemotional purchase when it comes to it. But when I saw this, I just knew I had to get involved. So a little bit about me if you've not met before. I am Katie. I'm a UK property investor, helping a lot of you guys build wealth through property. I've actually been in property now for 5 years, which is crazy. And it never was meant to happen. It was complete by accident. I was actually in the corporate world doing IT for an insurance company, working my way up the corporate ladder. And then I was actually looking for a property for myself to live in. And as I was doing that, I was sharing my story of the viewings I was going on and everything about it online on socials. And people started messaging me like, hey, could you actually help me find a property? And I was like, okay, this could be fun. Let's give it a go. And that is where I started property sourcing. So basically, I was finding really good investments, selling them to an investor for a fee, growing my portfolio at the same time. Anything. Anyway, one thing led to another. We ended up helping thousands of people all around the world invest in the UK property market, from first-time buyers right the way through to professional funds, family offices, portfolio building. And for the last 2 years, I'd been backwards and forwards to Dubai, checking out the market. I had clients over here, so I was backwards and forwards, but I finally made the move over 6 months ago. Now, quite honestly, that was so overwhelming. It was absolutely crazy to see the market. There's a new property launch here every 18 hours, which was so wild, so fast paced. Oh my gosh, I remember until you did the sourcing deal. Love that. So yeah, it was so fast paced. All these launches coming up, and we'd get information on the Tuesday, it would launch on the Wednesday, and it would be sold out by lunchtime. And I was like, this is crazy. By the time I'm speaking to an investor about a project and a property, it had already gone. So it was so fast paced. It was so overwhelming. All these different locations, different developers, so much to navigate. I was like, hang on a minute. If I am struggling with this and I work in property full time, how on earth is an international investor supposed to navigate this alone? So that's exactly what I do. The mission's always been the same, making investment simple. And that is what we're here to do today. We are going to run through exactly how you can unlock this for yourself, because the property market is absolutely thriving here. You've seen the numbers, you can understand it. And as an international investor, you can benefit from what is going on there. Does that all make sense? Just checking the chat to make sure we're all good. Cool. So why is the Dubai property market booming? Very, very good question. Literally, billions and billions and billions of pounds are pouring into this country from individual investors right the way up to institutional funds. BlackRock, the biggest brands are moving here, top tier talent. Everyone is moving their attention to this market. And when you look at the numbers, you can really start to understand why. And for me, it's important that we actually dig a little bit deeper than that. We need to understand why this is happening. Why is Dubai outperforming all the other markets in the world? Because understanding the past will help us to predict the future. And from being here, being on the ground, I've put it down to three main things: the vision, the strategy, and the execution. The vision here, the one mission that everyone is set to achieve, is to make Dubai the best city in the world. So, little history recap for you. In the 1960s, Dubai discovered oil, but the leader at the time was like, I know this is not going to last forever. We need to diversify. We need to create other income streams. And this is where this mission statement started. We need to make Dubai the best city in the world. His son later took over, who is the current leader now, who really, really lent into this narrative and has done so many things to start making the way towards that. First one being building Emirates, making it very, very accessible for the whole entire world. Interestingly, 80% of the whole world's population is within an 8-hour flight of Dubai. So it's very accessible, it's very central. They did then projects like the Burj Khalifa, tallest building in the world, the Palm Jebel Ali, which really put Dubai on the global stage. And they know if they want to create the best city in the world, they're going to need to attract wealth, they need to attract talent, and they need to attract capital. And this is where the strategy really starts to build in. And they actually came out to announce the 2040 plan, which is really important for us, for investors, because understanding where the vision is going and how we can benefit from it is really, really massive. One of the main components of this 2040 plan is that they plan to double the population from what it currently is today by 2040. And that's going to be really, really important. I'll touch on it in a slide or two. But in order to make that happen, they need to create a place where it's magnetizing people in. They need to create a place that people actually want to be. So they've put in a lot of different incentives to start doing that. First one, the tax benefits. No income, no inheritance, no capital gains, zero tax means that there's an instant financial advantage for anyone wealthy moving here. Okay, so that's a huge, huge, huge win and one way to attract a lot of people to the area. The next thing they do superbly is the safety. Year after year after year, they are at the top of the charts when it comes to the safest city in the world. And when you see what's going on in the news, when you see everything else, that is really, really important to people. Like what you see on the news about here in terms of people leaving the doors open, leaving the laptops on the table, it happens all the time because it's genuinely so safe. So families want to move here. It's very, very safe to bring up children. Moving over as a single person on your own felt very safe, no problem, because it genuinely is a really, really great place to be. Next, to attract wealth and money into the country, they had to make investing easy. They had to break all the barriers. They had to make it a very, very seamless process so that everyone all over the world, they had to just get rid of those barriers to make it easy, to make it accessible. And they did not only just to make it easy, but they needed to make sure it was safe, it was transparent, it was secure. Because like some of you have already mentioned, that's the first thing people think of. This is a new territory. This is the unknown. I'm not used to investing here. You want to make sure your assets, we work really, really hard for our money, that it is fully, fully protected. So they introduced a few things to make sure you're completely covered on that front. First one being the REST app. Now, this is an app which gives you complete transparency of what's going on in the market. For example, if you have a new project that's coming on, it will tell you the project number, it'll tell you whether the escrow account's set up, it will tell you where they are on construction, so you can actually keep an eye on the properties that you are purchasing and where they're up to, and everything is very, very transparent, very, very easy. Not only that, but they've also got the RERA, which is kind of like their independent body that manages this whole thing to make sure everyone's doing as they should be, to make sure investors are protected, and the whole governing body around it. Another thing that they've done really, really well to help attract, Josh, it's called the REST app, REST. The other thing they have done as well is to incentivize investment. Now, what a concept. But instead of like all these other countries making it harder and more difficult and more hoops to jump through, instead they've actually said, no, we're going to thank you for investing in here. This is exactly what we want to do, and to achieve our goals, we want to actually incentivize investment, and they do that through so many different ways, but the visa is a massive one. By investing here, it usually will unlock a visa. Now, your visa means you can stay in the country for as long as you want. It means you're eligible for all the tax-free benefits associated with it. It means you're eligible for better finance rates. There's so many different benefits associated with having a visa that, again, people want to be here. And this one for me was really, really interesting. The whole execution piece. Because there's one leader, because there's one mission, everyone seems to just be working in the right direction, moving in the right direction. And it allows them to have a much longer term vision. For example, I'm very used to parties competing every 4 years, promising the world to get into the leadership position. Now, once they're there, they have 4 years and zero financial backing to turn around an entire country. Make it make sense. It's never going to work. Whereas here, because there is one leadership, there's one mission, there's one direction, everyone's swimming in the same direction. They can have a much longer term vision. That's why they can think 2040, because they can think a lot longer and they can move everyone in the right direction before that. Not only that, they've actually got the financial backing to deliver on all those plans, all those promises that they've set out. And they actually have the track record now of delivering. There's so much trust in what they say. People know for a fact that once they say something, they actually do it, because they have that track record. They have complete respect, complete trust that whatever they say, everyone knows it's going to happen. So how does all that benefit us as investors? It comes down to the very, very, very fundamentals of investing in any asset class, wherever you are in the world. It all comes down to demand and supply. So this is the data pulled from the last 3 years of the annual increase of people that have been moving here year on year. Now you can see the growth rate is increasing every single time. You can see the units handed over is not keeping up with the amount of people that are coming into the area. So because there is an increasing demand and there's not enough supply to keep up with that, that is where the capital appreciation has gone absolutely crazy in the last couple of years. And I think when people first look at this, they're like, oh, what do we expect the future to look like? And I think that 2040 plan is really helpful to show us where this is going, what we can expect to see in the future as well. Because if they're looking to double the population in the next 15 years, this is only going to get bigger, it's only going to accelerate. They're also, on top of this, going for the most visited city in the world. Last year, they had 18 million visitors. So when we're looking at the units handed over, we're not just looking at end users buying them to live in. We're actually competing with investors who are buying these to help all the tourists that are coming over to stay as well. So you've got so many different investors coming into the market as well. And when we're thinking about, oh, am I too late? I hear that all the time. I think it's too late. I think I've missed out. I saw all those examples. I wish I'd got in earlier. I'm like, Dubai's just getting started. The UAE celebrated their 53rd birthday last month. You can see where they are going in terms of the 2040 plan. Like this, they're not slowing down anytime soon, okay? Does that all make sense? Good stuff. There's some really, really good questions there, and I will make sure we're getting to them all at the end for you. Josh, literally your money working for you. We definitely want to get it working for you, especially when we're working so hard for it. And this is what I mean, like we're just playing the market, we're playing clever, we're putting the same amount of capital in a different market and getting the upside from it. And I think as international investors, sometimes we're like, oh, because I'm not there, I can't get involved, I'm going to miss out. And actually, 50% of purchases are done from international investors. So it's happening every single day. It's happening all the time. And I want to make sure that you guys can get involved. So when I go through this, when I go through the numbers, what's possible, why it's all happening, people usually go, okay, Katie, where do I start? How do we get involved? How do you know where to invest? How do you know who to work with? All very, very good questions to make sure you are navigating this market well. Okay, I'm going to start with what is your goal? And I don't even want to get all woo-woo on you here, but I can quite honestly promise you this is going to save us a lot of hard work later down the line, because you can see on that map there. Let me just see if I can move my video so you can see that. But you can see on that map there that every single dot on that map is a project that is coming to the market that is doing a live launch, okay? So there is a lot going on. There's a lot to navigate, and this is where it can feel overwhelming. There's a new launch every 18 hours. How is it all happening? What's going on? But if we start with our goal, that's going to help us work backwards from that point, because every single person in this room, some of you have already shared, please do feel free to share in that chat, what is your goal? What would you like out of your next investment? Because every single person in this room's probably got a different reason for investing. For some, it might be cash flow. For some, it may be to inheritance for the children. Some, it might be a purely capital appreciation game. Every single person has a different reason for why they want to invest. And based on that end goal, I would work backwards from that point. Because if you're telling me you want to do the capital appreciation play, I would put you in a very different project to someone who is looking for the cash flow. Okay, so it's going to really help us whittle this down from all these dots to help us focus the search and make it a little bit easier. Not only do we need to know where we're going, but we also need to know where we are as well. We need to know budgets, we need to know timeframes, so that we can put you in the right project that's going to help you mend the two, if that makes sense. So we always start there. Once we've got that sorted, then we can get into the technical bits, okay? So we're going to start with the types of property. Now I'm going to go way, way, way back to basics, because this is a question I had when starting out. So I imagine some other people are thinking it too. Types of properties. Okay, we'll start with apartments. You know what an apartment is. They're the same all over the world. Apartments, flats, whatever you want to call them. Here, interestingly, you can actually own the airspace. So your apartment can still class as a freehold property. Good thing to know. Townhouses over here are your equivalent of back home terraced houses. A twin villa is basically like your semi-detached at home. So it's basically two houses stuck together, and then your villa is your fully detached properties. How does that affect your investment? Again, I'm data led, I'm numbers led. I pulled the numbers from last year, what we saw in terms of capital appreciation on both sides. Your apartments, capital appreciated on average at 23% increase in 2024. Villas, on the other hand, saw a 31.6% increase in 2024. So, if you are coming to me and saying, Katie, I want the highest capital appreciation play, naturally, I'm going to say the villas is the best bet. Now, that's not to say apartments are bad. There's no good or bad. It's more what's going to be right for you. Because if you are looking for the ultimate capital appreciation play, then naturally villas is where it's going to be. And I think the reason behind that is genuinely, again, due to lack of supply. 4% of the whole stock in Dubai is villas. Very, very small percentage. But right now, Dubai is attracting a lot more families, a lot more business owners, and they want more space. And there's been a huge lack of supply, hence why the villa communities have gone absolutely crazy over the last couple of years. So that would be an incredible play if you're looking for the capital appreciation side of things. Developers. Okay, this is a big one. And this was something that was very, very new to me because it was not the same over in the UK. But developers over here, they carry a lot of weight. Developers almost carry like a brand. Okay, so the likes of Chanel, the likes of Louis Vuitton, like why do we buy into those brands? It's for so many different things. Firstly, the name associated with it, it carries weight. But not only that, it determines your quality. Are you buying Primark? Are you buying Prada? It's going to determine the materials they're using, the standards that they're using, how long their timelines are, what's their build contractors like, everything about the product. Is it going to stand the test of time? In 10 years' time, when you've had 3 different tenants in that property, is it still going to be in good condition? Your brand's definitely going to determine that. Delivery on time is a really, really important one for us as investors. I was actually speaking to an investor last night who was like, my project's been delayed a whole year. And over in the investment world, time is money. If your project's delayed a year, you are missing out on a whole year of rental income. So again, you want to be working with a developer that has a track record of delivering on time, that has the work capacity to finish on time and deliver on those promises that they're setting out for investors. Every single developer will have a different USP. And that's why I always say, let's start with the goal first, okay? We want to start with the goal and work backwards from that point, because every single different goal that we're in, I would point you all in different directions, because some USPs for developers are that they become furnished. Others have better payment plans. Payment plans is a massive one, right? We need to understand the finances and how it works for us. So the likes of Emaar, for example, if you have been to Dubai, you will have seen the name Emaar splashed around every single building over here. Emaar, they're a government-backed developer. Great quality, great standard, capital appreciate all day, every day. Great product, okay? But would I recommend it to everyone? No. Few reasons. Their payment plan is 80/20. Perfect if you're looking for a cash buyer, no problem. If you're looking to leverage more cash, it's not really going to be working for you. There's a lot more better options that I'd suggest that allows you to get in without putting so much capital down. So that's where each individual developer has their own niches, has their own quirks, and understanding where you want to be, the goals that you need out of your investment, I'd suggest very different developers on that. So how does that affect your investment? Again, developers can really make or break the project. It's a really, really important part of when we're looking at buying a property over here. It is going to dictate the demand from both tenants and buyers. If you speak to any completed agent over here, they will tell you they have more demand for certain developers than others. I can even show you live examples in the same location, the same area, 2 buildings side by side, one with one developer, one with the other. One, you'll get higher rates and rents. Another, you will get higher capital appreciation. And that's purely because of the demand. If it's a brand that people want to live in, then naturally you're going to have more attention on it. You're going to have more demand for that property. It might be because of the facilities. It might be because of the build quality. It might be for whatever reason that is. There's more demand for that property. Hence, the landlord can dictate the prices. the end user, the seller, can dictate the prices. You can achieve more rent, you can get a higher sale price, you can get more capital appreciation. So it's a big one. Definitely something to think about. Locations. Okay, this one is a big one. Wherever you are investing all around the world, location is going to be massive. I bet a lot of you are living in a location, and there's probably a road you'd love to live on and a road that you wouldn't want to live on, and they're probably not that far apart. Okay, so location can have a big impact, and I think sometimes that if you're not living here, it can be difficult to navigate. Like, where do I look? Where do I start? Because naturally, a lot of the locations that you've heard of are the touristy spots, okay? So downtown Burj Khalifa, very famous because it's got the world's tallest building. Now, downtown right now, it's very much a completed community. There's a few plots of land that come up, but it's very much completed now. Same with Palm Jumeirah, same with Dubai Marina. All these like areas, you could have probably got into, actually, I know someone who got into the Palm Jumeirah, an apartment on there for £50,000 when it was sand. Okay, that's always the earliest time to buy. That same apartment's definitely 10x, maybe even 20x the original purchase price, buying it off plan. And that is the beauty of getting into somewhere early and rolling with that. So in terms of Dubai itself in general, you can see the new airport that's coming in to the south. I don't know whether you can see my mouse, but the Dubai is creating the world's biggest airport. Of course they are. They always go bigger, they always go better, and they are currently building that out. So there's more and more development now shifting that direction. You can see the Palm Jebel Ali, again, is going to be a bigger and better palm moving in that direction. There's so much construction and being built all in that inner circle. Villa communities, a lot more transport links, and really kind of building out Dubai that way. So when it comes to locations, what elements do we need to consider? One of the big ones is whether you're looking at a new location or a completed community. Again, there is no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. It's what's right for you and your personal circumstance and what you want out of the investment, okay? So a new location is typically the cheapest time to buy. The cheapest time to buy is when it's sand, when you are getting in early, because as an investor, you are believing in the vision. It's not there yet, okay? It doesn't exist. You are buying sand and you are rewarded for getting in early, and that's why it's always the cheapest time to buy. Whereas in the completed communities, maybe yes, you're buying at a bit of a premium because of that. But some people like that option because it gives them a little bit more security. They can go down, they can feel the community, they can see it a little bit more, and it brings it all to life a lot more. Sammy, I've just seen your question. The webinar is recorded. I'll make sure everyone's got the link, so don't worry. Next up, views. Golf and water views. It's not unique to Dubai. This is all over the world. It's called a golden asset class. And sorry, I can't get my words out. Golf and water views capital appreciate at a much higher rate to anywhere else. Another thing to think about is always your end tenant. Who is living in that property? Because if you're buying in a villa, for example, what's the accessibility like to schools? How accessible is it to the local hospital where the parents are working? We've always got to think of the end tenants in mind, because Dubai do a lot of things right. I would say one of their bigger problems right now is traffic. And it's a problem, but they're sorting it. They're throwing billions at the problem, and it's a huge part of their 2040 vision. They want 80% of the Dubai population living within 800 meters of public transport. So it's a problem they are fixing, and you'll literally drive down the road and suddenly see this new road appear and you're like, hey, cool, let's go this way today. So it's a problem they're fixing, but always think about that in terms of accessibility, where your tenant's going to be living, working. Is it going to be easy and accessible for them? Again, huge consideration. Strategy as well. This again will dictate your location, because some locations work better for short term if you're looking at the Airbnb strategy versus long term. If that makes sense. So how does location affect your investment? Again, let's strip it back right to the numbers. I pulled off the 3 locations that had the highest yields for 2024. Dubai Investment Park, International City, Silicon Oasis. Now, I knew this was going to happen. Typically, where you're going to see the higher yield is inland, because your price point is cheaper, But in these certain areas where they're strategically placed, you can still get a really, really huge demand from people who are wanting to live there. So pound for pound in the cash flow, you're probably going to see a higher return. Whereas if you're saying to me, no, I want the capital appreciation play, what's the best option for that? I would send you in a completely different location. These are the 4 top performing areas last year in terms of capital appreciation. Now, interestingly, they're all villa communities, we could have guessed, but the top 2 are waterfront communities. The second 2 are golf view communities. So this is where knowing those market insights really, really help you and benefit you. And knowing that end goal will help dictate which location we should be looking in. Okay, strategy. Another big one to think about. So you've got, in a very similar way to the UK, you've got a lot of different options when it comes to your strategy. Your buy to let. Okay, something to note here, which is an absolute win for investors. Oftentimes you will see rent paid upfront for a year. An absolute dream. No late payments, no tenant issues, no problems. Fantastic. What a lot of investors do as well is once they get that lump sum payment in for the year, they throw it into a payment plan and start building out their portfolio that way. Airbnbs. This is another strategy that is wildly used, again, to increase the upside. Some may say that comes with slightly higher risk because it can be more inconsistent. You might have higher seasons, you might have lower seasons. But Dubai has 18 million visitors every single year, and a lot of those are looking for places to stay. The types of tenants you can expect to see here are split as well. You've got the holiday makers, you've got the tourists that are coming, but very often when people are moving here for the first time, one, they want to try different communities before they lock in and buy something or rent something longer term. But secondly, you can't actually rent longer term until you've got your visa set up. So what most people do is they move over, and this is what I did, moved over, I booked an Airbnb for 2 months. That allowed me the time to understand where I want to be and find the right property. In that time, I have given an Airbnb owner complete occupancy for 2 months. They didn't have to come in, they didn't have to clean it, there was no changeovers, none of that. So it's an absolute dream for investors. Again, you've got the flip side of things as well. Now, you've got the traditional flip in a sense where you have properties. Now, even the properties that are 10, 15 years old compared to the new towers that come in can look a little bit dated. So there's even the opportunity to flip things out there, but you also have the off-plan side of things and the off-plan flips. Now, how this typically works, I'd always caveat this. It has to be the right project. It has to be the perfect storm. All those other boxes have to be ticked. But a very successful strategy that people are finding are you find and identify a really good project, you buy it in off plan, and mainly because everyone who's buying off plan typically is an investor, because it's very difficult for a family to understand where they may be in 4 years' time, how many kids they've got, what schools they'll need to be close to. So typically it's investors getting in on the off-plan side of things. Then a couple of years later, you've benefited from the capital appreciation throughout that time. Not only that, when it comes to handover, suddenly the other side of the market is also able to buy this product because it's completed. It can be mortgaged. So you have families ready to move in. No problem at all. So you've suddenly doubled the amount of people that can buy it because you've got your investors, but you've also got the families. And this is where people then start to do the off-plan flipping. And that's what they mean by that term. Off-plan versus completed, another choice that you need to think about. Again, no right or wrong, but we start with the goal, and that's probably going to navigate which one's going to be best. Completed, it means you can touch the product, you can see the product, you can visit the product. This is going to be perfect if you are saying, Katie, I need immediate cash flow. Then completed is definitely the best route to go for. Something to think about, slightly higher purchase fees because you've got your agency fees, title fees, a few more additional fees in there to think about. Whereas if you are open to the off-plan side of things, it allows you to get into an area early. Typically, the cheapest time to buy is off-plan because you're getting in early with a developer. You can pick the best units with the best developer, best price point, so it ticks a lot of boxes. Another reason a lot of my clients like this is the visa order, okay? So in order to get your visa, you have to own the property. So in the completed space, where it's like the chicken and the egg situation, okay? So you have to buy the property, completed property, and then you can unlock your visa. Well, at that point, you've already used the finance and you've not been able to use the benefits of being a visa holder to unlock cheaper finance. Whereas in the off-plan world, it kind of falls in the right order. So you can secure your unit today. During that construction period, you can get your visa set up. So then by the time it comes to handover, you are in a position to unlock the preferable rates because you've got your visa in place. So that's another reason why a lot of people like that side of things. Also, the payment plans are a big win. It allows you to spread the costs out. It's basically an interest-free loan with the developer. And also for the capital appreciation play, that whole flipping side of things is, again, another strategy that people use on that side of things. Okay, to summarize, because I know that was heavy, there was a lot of different components to the investment, but the first thing you need to think about is the goal. What is the end outcome that you want out of your investment? Start there first, we can then work back. Understanding where you are now, we can then place the best product to meet both of those sides. Once you've got the goal in mind, it's then going to help us navigate the property type, the developer, the location, the strategy, whether it's completed, whether it's off plan. So definitely always start with that goal. Then it's going to lead us in the right direction. And suddenly all those dots on the page of all those different developments is whittled down to something a lot more manageable. And we're then picking from some really, really good options that are going to work for you personally. If you want help navigating all of that, because it's a lot, I know it is, that is what we do, okay? So you don't need to do all this alone. If you do want any help navigating picking the right products, getting the right developers, getting access to units, that is exactly what we're here to do. And I've actually got a Calendly link where you can book in time with my calendar. I've opened it up if you want to discuss this in a lot more detail. Those calls are completely free. We jump on, we understand where your goals are, where you are right now, so we can actually run through some live examples that are going to work for you in terms of projects that are coming up, talk about the EOIs, booking process, all that good stuff. So if you do want any help with that, Tom, if we could just put the Calendly link in so those guys could grab a spot if you need to, jump on in. Now, there is a form that you have to just complete. It asks you a few questions. Put as much information in there as you can because it helps me prepare for the call so that I can actually have a few projects in mind that I can bring, that we can run through floor plans, price points, everything, so that I can be as best prepared as I can for those calls. Equally, I know you might not have all the answers right now, and that's absolutely fine. So put in the information that you want. And I think Tom's just put in that Calendly link for me. So yeah, let's just pop that at the top so you've got access to it. But pop on over there, jump in some time in my calendar, and we can run through all that good stuff. Okay. We are going to run through a Q&A. I have seen the chat going and I'm going to try and get to as many questions as possible. I did put out in the WhatsApp group a couple of days ago any questions that you particularly wanted me to run through, and there were 3 key themes. So I'm going to jump through those first. Then we're going to run through some Q&As that have come through. So any questions that you do have, guys, start to throw those in and we will get round to as many as we possibly can. But let's jump through the biggest ones first to get those for you, because I think it's really, really important that you just have this information on these topics as well. Visas. And I've seen it in the chat, actually, a few of you are asking about this. There are different options when it comes to visas, mainly 2 on the investment side of things. So the cheapest visa option is unlocked when your property value is 750k AED. That's the equivalent roughly of about 150 Great British pounds. If you have a property worth that, you can unlock this visa. Now, it doesn't mean you have to have all that cash into the property. You can have finance up to about 50%. They need you to have 50% of the capital in that property to unlock this visa for you. This visa is valid for 2 years. So at the end of the 2-year period, as long as you still own the property, you can just reapply and you get your next 2 years and keep going and keep going. You can sponsor family on this one as well. So your husband, your wife, your children, you can sponsor, and that's the 2-year visa. The 10-year golden visa, this one's unlocked at a purchase price of 2 million AED, around 400k Great British. This one, a mortgage is allowed as much as you want, as long as the property value that you own is over 2 million, it will unlock this 10 million, this 10-year golden visa for you. This one is valid for 10 years and you can sponsor your family, so your wife, your husband, and your children on this one as well, plus domestic staff on that one too. Now, something to think about on this is your visa is tied to your property. So for whatever reason, if you sell that property, your visa does go with it. Just seen a question on that. Is the visa free with the property or is it an extra cost on top? Jen, good question. There are companies out here that will do this for you, but it isn't typically an additional cost on top. Certain developers may throw it in as like a bonus or initiative, but it's not as standard. So it would be an extra cost and you'd probably have a small cost if you're looking to refresh it at the end of the 10 years or the end of the 2 years as well. Is the property or can that be over multiple? Good question, Daniela. So on the property value side of things, that 2 million AED, that could be split over multiple properties. It doesn't just have to be in one. Perfect. Okay. Jumping into the next one, because this was a hot topic that a lot of you had as well, the finance side of things. Finance is available. 50% of purchases are done using finance. This is happening all day, every day. I think people is a main concern, especially when you're investing in a new territory. Is it possible? Can I do it? Will it work for me? It absolutely is possible. And it's actually a lot easier than you think. So I would caveat this with every single person's financial situation is very, very different, and you'd need to have that personalized conversation to understand where you are with a mortgage broker, etc. However, I'm going to give you the headlines just so you can start to work the maths and see if it's going to work for you. As a non-resident, so if you don't own a visa, you can still get finance. You can loan up to 60% of the property value. And your interest rates typically at the moment, you're seeing between 5 and 6%. On the resident side again, so if you are a visa holder, so if you've unlocked a visa through your property value in terms of what you've purchased, you can actually borrow up to 80%. And your interest rates sit lower, between 3.75% and 4.5%, which is a lovely little bonus. Simon, interest only. There's a very, very small percentage of the market that does interest only. Most mortgage options here are capital repayment as well. Company versus individual. This is a good one, and I'm glad you asked it, because for my UK investors, I want you to forget everything you know currently. This is interesting as well. So I would say in the UK, between 95 to 98% of my investors bought through a limited company because there was tax benefits associated with it. Here, I would say it's literally the reverse, because in your personal name, there is no tax, there's no personal income, there's no inheritance, there's no capital gains. In fact, investing in a company here is arguably more difficult. There is a corporation tax, so it's 9% on any income above 370,000 AED annually. And you will have setup costs associated with that. You will have renewal costs associated with that. There's more admin you need to do because you've got accounts every single year that need to be done. And finance can sometimes be a little bit more difficult. So hence why most people do opt for the personal name option. Having said that, I do have a couple of clients that have purchased through the company, and this is because every single situation is completely different. And this is where I always say, speak to the expert on it, because for those individual clients that have decided to do it through the company, overall, when they look at all their assets in terms of all their different businesses that's going on globally, it still made sense for them financially to do it through the company, and it saved them money elsewhere. For most people, investing in the personal name. However, if you need extra support on that, if you need extra guidance, drop me a message. I can point you in the right direction. Same on the mortgages and the finances and the broker. If you do want some additional support on that, you want to have that conversation, explore it, we can sort that out for you as well. We can point you in the right direction so you have all the conversations. I think in property, it's always a game that you need so many different people. You need all these different jigsaw pieces of the puzzle to come together. So if you need any help navigating that, that's what we're here to do. Simon, what I'll do is I'll put a link in our group chat as well so that you've got access to it all and you can jump in and book those Calendly appointments. Okay, let's jump through a few Q&As that we've been rolling through. Okay. Can my limited company here in the UK purchase property in Dubai with mortgage and as a director of the LTD to get a visa? Okay, we've got a few different layers to that question. A UK company can buy over here, but it might be more difficult on your financing. What I'm going to suggest is that you get in touch with my mortgage broker just to make sure and navigate that for you. To get the insights of whether that's going to work for you, because everyone's is just set up in a slightly different way. Because in a company, it can be more difficult on the finance things if you're looking to do that. But equally, it might be more beneficial for you to do so. So definitely just take a look at that. I'll pop all the links in the chat so you've got that one. Alex, are there cheap ways to route money back to the UK from Dubai rental income without being penalised for transactions or currency charges? Good question. So there are so many different kind of FedEx companies, that will do this for you. So I actually have an incredible partner that gets preferable rates because they transfer so much money. They pass that on to their all their clients. So again, that's another person I'll put you in touch with. I'll leave the link so that you can get signed up with them, so that you can pass money between the two, and then it works out cheaper. Also, interestingly, guys, something I should have mentioned earlier is because the rates are so good right now for the pound, people are locking in rates. So there are certain companies that will help you lock in rates for the next 12 months. So for my clients on payment plans who know exactly how much money they need to bring over to Dubai over the next 12 months, this is absolutely perfect. And I've helped a few clients get this set up. Basically, you can lock in today's rate and say, okay, over the next 12 months, I'm going to send 100,000, whatever that number is, over to Dubai. You can lock in today's rate while the pound is strong so that you're getting that saving longer term. Again, I'll make sure you've got that link because that's a really, really good one to know. Why are prices still so low per price per square foot in Dubai compared to other big cities in the world, since it's the best place to live? Very, very good question. Dubai is very, very relatively new, 53 years old. When we compare it with the likes of London, Monaco, all the big New York, all the big cities in the world that Dubai is now competing with, have all been here for so much longer. They have had this capital appreciation growth, and they're a lot more completed in terms of their consistency is now a lot more consistent. Whereas over in Dubai, we are still very, very relatively new, giving you the greatest opportunity to get in while it is lower, because we know where it's going to go to. We know where the vision, they want to create the best city in the world. That's one of the best opportunities about it right now, is that actually when you do compare it to other major cities all over the world, it is coming in as one of the cheapest. Let me see if we've got any more. I had a question earlier as well. Would I need to be in the country to make a purchase? Great question. The answer is no. You can do it all remotely, all digitally, DocuSign, everything is super easy. As I said, they make it as transparent as they physically possibly can. So you don't actually have to be in the country. However, what I would say is if you are getting your visa, that is the one time you would definitely need to be in the country, because you need your medical. They take a blood test. I'm super squeamish, but it was actually not too bad. And that's the one time, if you wanted to set up the visa, you would need to be in the country for that one. But making a purchase, no, you're all good. Alex, can you use a UK mortgage finance to finance properties in Dubai? Good question. I actually had this one before. So you would need to check with your UK mortgage broker, because I think what a lot of clients were looking at doing is actually refinancing to deploy the capital here. Now on the Dubai side, no problem. You just need to check with your UK lender that they're happy for you to do that, because they need to sometimes know where the money's going, what's it going towards. So as long as you get the all clear, we are all good. Farouk, do you need the 150k liquid, or once you take up the mortgage, you're eligible? You might just need to expand on that one for me, if you don't mind. Okay, I've just seen the time and I know we're running over slightly. So we are going to run through one more question before we wrap things up, because I'm conscious of everyone's time. But I really, really appreciate everyone jumping in. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the energy, because It's been so fun to actually do one of these. I've not done one of these in so long. So if you have found it useful, if you've got anything out of it, please do let me know in the comments, because if you found it helpful and you've got something out of it, then we can do more of them. Okay, so do let me know what your biggest takeaway was. Pop them in the comments, because I would love to see that. But Hashim's made a really good question. What is the step-by-step process to buying and getting a visa? So depending on what property you're going to go for, it's going to be two different routes. Your completed side of things. Once you have completed your purchase and you've got the property and you've got the keys and the title deeds and it's all yours, then you can unlock the visa process. Now, there are companies that help you navigate this, who can basically do everything for you, but there's paperwork, there's a form to fill in, and then on the back of that you can then start your visa process. Now, the visa process itself, again, quite simple, typically can be done in a week or two. You will need to come over to the country for your medical. Once your medical's done, they also take biometrics, so they take like all your fingerprints. You get your fingerprints done. Once they've got that, then they issue your Emirates ID card, and your Emirates ID card unlocks everything for you. That is when you're officially a visa holder, and then it's super easy to get that sorted. Now, on the off-plan side of things, similar concept, same steps we have to go through, but you don't have to wait till the project's handed over. Basically, what happens is you reserve your unit. You have your contracts, you sign it, your SPA, it's yours, and you can physically see that you own that property once it's built. They'll take that and they'll use it to then start your visa application. The property does not have to be completed. It can be done at any stage in the construction. You then follow the same process that the completed guys do. So there's companies that help you do that. Again, if you need a contact, I'm more than happy to help and share. They will walk you through it. There's documents to be signed. You'd need to come over maybe for about a week, get your bloods done, your biometrics done, and bingo. It's honestly a lot easier than you think. I think investing in a different market can feel overwhelming, scary, like all these different things, but they have really streamlined the process. Their whole objective is to get money and incentivize people to make it happen. So they have made it very easy, made it very quick, made it very efficient. And it's such a huge opportunity right now. I love speaking to so many different people about it, because we are getting in super early. It's an incredible opportunity. The numbers are insane. That being said, you need to make sure you are navigating it correctly. And I have seen some questions like, how do you know who to work with? You need to make sure you are working with the best in every single step of the way, from your mortgage broker to the person who's advising you in terms of which property it is, all the way through that process, because you want to be working with the best. It's going to have your best interests at heart. So I definitely recommend working with someone who has insights across the whole of Dubai. I think oftentimes I hear clients and they're like, oh, well, I was speaking to X, Y, and Z developer and they were telling me this is the best thing. And I was like, they will tell you that's the best thing because that's all they sell. You need to definitely work with someone who has experience across the whole of Dubai, who they can give you an unbiased opinion. And also when you're picking your developers, your mortgage brokers, every single part of the team, work with the best. It's going to make your time and life so much easier. Guys, thank you so much for jumping on, all the time that we've had together. Appreciate all the nice comments. I'm glad you found it useful. This session will be recorded. I will make sure to put all the links in the chat, as we said, access to the mortgage broker, access to our Calendly link, all the information to carry on that conversation. If you are interested and you want to have that conversation, if you want to talk units, floor plans, help navigate this whole property market, want to take the step into investing in Dubai, that is what we do, and that's what I'm here to help you with. So book in some time in my calendar. We can have a chat. We can go through all the good stuff. I hope you found that helpful. I hope you have an amazing evening and have a lovely night. And I'll see you very soon.